Hello, hello. It's me. I'm here in my temporary streaming location. Um, doing the GM things, and it's going to be kind of a hot mess, pretty much until I get my other monitors back. Because right now all I have is my tiny laptop screen, and it pains me. But I still have a game to run. So, Apocalypse World, we finally came back this past Thursday and played a session, and things are we're starting to hit the like end game here. I think in a few more sessions, shit's gonna come to a head. So let's just go through our threats, see what's up, and see if there's anything that we really need to do here. Um, Starting with the candy shop. So the candy shop is going to be back soon. I think Bullseye and Booty are going back to the candy shop to talk about the gloriousness that is the cult of the Vivarium. And I think Barker's not gonna like that. So what we don't care about is Barker and Bob. What we do care about is how will Barker fuck with Bullseye. And we're just gonna swap all of this. And I don't think Barker is going to poison Bullseye. I think Barker's going to attack Bullseye. And I don't know if that's going to happen, and what it will mean if it does happen. We'll see if Booty does anything about it. Or if Booty uses Barker to force Bullseye to tell her where the source is. That could be a stakes question. Will Booty be able to force Bullseye to tell her about the source? Because she needs to get into the water source to poison it. For glass. Good old glass. Yes, that's fine. So we'll see. The candy shop will be back on the screen next week, and we'll see what happens there. The junkyard. The junkyard has been doing really well. But we don't care about this countdown clock anymore. That's not a looming issue. The countdown clock for the whole junkyard area is really about the Vivarium. We know that Gucci built some sort of broadcast equipment for Bullseye. We don't care about what the wolves will do to the junkyard. We do still care about this special move. But the junkyard as a threat is kind of receding, and the Vivarium is really more at the forefront. So just kind of that one's going to move to the back. The candy shop's coming a bit forward, but this one we're not that concerned about. The Vivarium we are very concerned about. Bob is not part of the Vivarium anymore. Bob is weird in that he was changed by the Vivarium, but he wasn't purged of his wolfness before. So Bob's in this weird interstitial situation and also might be dead, depending on what happens to him in the city. Bob's not really about this life anymore. Um, in terms of wolves being sacrificed, um, the Vivarium got stone. Vivarium has stone. So, because Oler tipped stone into the pit. So they have a wolf, and the overgrowth is now going to happen. Um, so the question now is, uh, they have a wolf. I think we're gonna have a scene with Lucy explaining to Oler that that stone is what was needed to complete the plan. Um, I guess the big question is, how will Gucci and Rill deal with the overgrowth of the junkyard? Um, and if Boo T poisons the source, how will the overgrowth change? These are questions that I have. So yeah, they have a wolf and overgrowth. So overgrowth and the plant army attacking the city are foregone conclusions. This is going to happen. It's just a matter of how the players deal with it. Um, and I guess another question is, can I fit it? Just barely. If Boo T doesn't poison the source, how will she defend herself from the overgrowth? Because it's definitely going to come after her. Um, she is a wolf of the maelstrom still, and um, the Vivarium does not like that shit. So this is definitely gonna accelerate the pace of the game moving forward. The screen heads, so Dirt, Worm, and Stone, um, are dead. Um, but now we have Glass. Glass, leader of the screen heads. Um, the screen heads and the queen are at war. Um, and the queen has used Rill to destroy kind of the hub of the Screenhead's communication network. So this move right now is not in effect. We'll just put it in gray because who knows, it might come back. Um, but the Screenheads pointed Rill at the Concord Hall, and it was not burned down. Um, so this did not come to fruition. Um, this whole business down here is not that's not happening. Um, Glass has been stymied, but Glass has a new plan, a second plan, and we might end up writing a new countdown clock. Um, what does Glass's poison do to the source? What's the goal there? Um, we know that Glass wants to corrupt the Vivarium, but how? And so this whether or not this becomes important depends a lot on what Booty does. So we need to see what Booty and Ola are going to do about that little stopper of poison that she has. The Tiller is so Bullseye. Bullseye has formed a cult. Um, he's got his cult. He used Grinaguchi to make a thing, and now people are coming. And now the cult needs to till the subdivision. And this, I think we're going to see this in the next session. Let me make a note. We're going to see this in the next session with the cult overturning the concrete and uh, everything that the subdivision used to be and preparing it. And then if they get that done, when they get that done, they will commit mass suicide and then they will arise anew. And Andrew, who is so prescient, already seems to have a mass suicide plan for the gang slash cult that they're developing, which ties in beautifully to this. So I think Bullseye's next move is to begin tilling. Yeah. So far we've got, well, unless Barker kills him. So Bullseye is going to talk to Booty about tilling the land. Barker's not going to like that and is going to attack Bullseye. Booty, if Bullseye isn't dead, Booty and Ola are going to have some discussion about the source, which may or may not get poisoned. But the overgrowth is coming either way, regardless. It's just whether or not Bullseye is able to adequately prepare for it, whether Booty is able to corrupt it, but the overgrowth is going to happen. The Wolves of the Maelstrom. This is tied in very much with the screen heads, and I will change this. And the candy shop are both very involved in this. Worm is not relevant here anymore. So we've got Worm's gone. We don't care about Worm. Booty is pretty much Booty's poison is where this is going to. That's this clock here. So yeah, the wolves are looking for this to happen. And if Booty manages to poison the source, these two will get ticked off automatically. The wolves can't attack the Vivarium because they're busy fighting the queen. The screen heads are fighting the queen right now. So we'll see. This is teetering on whether or not Booty is going to poison the source. The city. Yeah, the city. The queen has an army. And she's trying to invade Central Park. So the being of static, what we're looking at here is that overgrowth is going to happen. The being of static is going to rip the world, whatever that looks like. And so those are two kind of game-ending scenarios that are competing against each other. The queen is looking. One of the reasons there's so much fighting is that the queen is trying to invade Central Park and take out Glass, and that will trigger the retaliation. So we don't care where the queen found an army; she found one. What we do care about is how will Glass trigger the ripping of the world? Here's a question: is glass the being of static? I think glass might be. I think glass is the like human approximation. Um, it's the human approximation that this static being can fit into. But I think the queen isn't ready for glass at all. And if glass is cornered, and this would also dovetail with Booty's attraction to the being of static and glass, like that's all of a piece. So this is on its way. Central Park, still not. This is kind of like the junkyard in that the landscape itself isn't as important as the people inside that have their own threats. So we'll just kind of let this percolate. Um, and then Oler's gang is, again, this isn't as important to me right now. I don't feel the need to do anything with this. I think really what I'm interested in right now is Bullseye, Bullseye fighting Barker, Bullseye tilling the subdivision, Bullseye maybe giving Booty to access to the source. I'm interested in Booty potentially poisoning the source. I'm interested in the Queen um, cornering glass and having the world rip. We're really more at a point where this little inner gang conflict is not as important as these bigger moving pieces. Oops. Um, and so let's look at this. We don't care about that. Um, we know that this still hasn't quite been answered. Rill is still very similar, but like obviously not a wolf anymore, but still very focused on the same thing. So I'm not sure what it means for her to no longer be a wolf. And maybe we'll find out in the city. Uh, how will the overgrowth hold the ripped world together? Or how can? Because we don't know that it will, but how could it? So I think what we've got here is Glass giving up on the world, do, on trying to accomplish something in the world, and just opting to destroy it and ripping it. And I think the overgrowth is meant to stitch the world back together in this like horrific zombie plant landscape. So we've got two bad options, two terrible, terrible options. Um, and we'll see uh, where the shit's gonna land. But yeah, really, really fast GM turn because there's a lot of things that are kind of fading into the background as we focus in on this central conflict. Um, so next week, Bullseye versus Barker, Bullseye tilling, Booty trying to poison. Um, that's all going to be happening in the junkyard side of the game. In the city side of the game, the Queen is going to be trying to invade Central Park. I think Bob's just dead. Um, Oler and Middleman are in between the worlds somewhere, and they might get a glimpse of what it means for the world to be ripped. I think they might see that, and we can get a lens into that. Um, and then Rill went to go find some munitions, and maybe I think she might encounter the queen there, and the queen's gonna try to get her to help the queen get into Central Park. I think those are the big pieces that we're looking at starting off with next week. So yeah, that's it. Apocalypse World, super easy game to GM, in my opinion, because prep is nice and short and sweet. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we will be back to sort out how the world is going to end again next week. Have a good weekend.